I just wanted to share that I didn't want to stop tonight. Um, and also I had this beautiful feeling in the middle of it where um, I just felt like a heart open moment, and I was like, ah, so this is what it all was for. So
Mm.
that was a good experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Well, the good news is we don't have to stop,
Right.
right? Because what are we doing in this meditation? What are we doing? That's not a rhetorical question. What are we doing, Tejas?
Um, we are being what we always have been.
Yeah. 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 And to put it even more simply, we're just being.
Yes.
We're just being. Everything is as it is in the present moment, and in the face of it, we're just being. Now, when someone rings a bell and we open our eyes, how does that situation change?
Not at all.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It can take a little while to notice that it doesn't change. It can seem like it changes, mainly because after we open our eyes, after a while we have to get up and do stuff. Right? So there's this level of activity where we don't can't just leave everything as it is. We have to stop on the red and go on the green, and pay the rent and et cetera, et cetera. Um, but it becomes clearer and clearer that that also is well, that's also just part of the present situation. That's also just what's going on in the moment, and we're just being with that. And there's what is it, Tejas? What is it about this sitting in this just being that is so attractive, that makes one not want to stop? What is it?
Well, I mean, tonight simply it was that it felt very good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But isn't it interesting? It feel and we all of us who experiencing this week, of course, we all know that. Yeah, it feels so good. But when we try to pin down what is it, how is it that it feels good? No one's giving us a massage. you know, we're not sitting in a hot tub. We're we're not hearing beautiful music or getting some intellectual aha by reading a brilliant book. Any of these things, not seeing a terrific movie, any of these things, we're not having a wonderful emotional epiphany with someone we love. All these things that we usually identify with, oh, that feels good. So, what is it? What is it that we're experiencing that feels so good? Of course, I'm talking with Tejas here, putting him on the hot seat because he's a good sport. But as always, I want everyone to hopefully be following along here and trying to looking within your own experience for the response. So, what is it, Tejas or anyone else? How can we describe what is it that makes this feel good? That makes us feel sometimes like, oh man, I don't want to open my eyes. What is it? Yeah, Dorothy.
Can you hear me, Dean?
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's just the simple joy of being. It's so simple, just being.
Yeah.
That's for me, that's what it is. Just the simple joy of being at that present moment.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if I can put it a better way. Yeah. Yeah. There's something, yeah, the simplicity, because everything else, literally everything else is more complicated.
Hmm.
Literally, once we now, okay, well, okay, I got to make a plan to pick up a pencil and write down a sentence. So I'm going to move my hand across the, now things have become more complicated,
Hmm.
right? So this just being is literally the simplest thing in the world. and and so that means we're freed from the complexity, from the usual complexity of life.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the simple, and there is joy in that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we can describe any further why there should be joy. I don't know if there's logic to it, but you know it when you feel it, don't you? Yeah, Jacob.
Hi. I think
Hi.
I think it's perhaps what I'm thinking now is it's what isn't here.
Mm.
It's what gets it's the refuge. It's the um, liberation from if I look around the room where I am, there can be almost like a tyranny of objects.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they are like laden heavily with associations with the past. They sort of, everything sort of shrieks to me, you know me.
Mm-hmm.
And everything has a story. And of course, I love stories, but there's something about the nothing, what isn't there, that becomes like a refuge and a cleansing in a way. I don't want to sound moralistic, but
Yeah, no, it's not.
it's
It's not moralistic. That. It's something much more profound than moral cleansing.
so it's, maybe I meet what I call myself through this, you know, nonstop storm of objects that surround me.
Mm-hmm.
And in meditation, maybe I meet my quote self in the absence of all that, having subtracted the pile up of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah,
Uh, and it's sort of like meeting myself, I go back to what Tejas was saying. It's like, that's a heart opening.
yes,
That feels good
yeah,
to not to put down that backpack
yeah,
and just kind of stretch.
yeah.
And it's like, well, they always told me I'd amount to nothing. I I guess
Uh-huh.
it's true.
Yeah, yeah. But the good news is nothing is sacred.
Right.
There's a, I love the Beckett play Waiting for Godot, which to me really gets down to some of these fundamental questions. And there's this one character, Lucky the slave, um, who's
Lucky
just
and Pozzo.
yeah, yes. Pazzo is this big imperious guy. Pazzo is like and they're all, of course, parts of ourself. And Pazzo is the ego and the arrogance and the whole urge to have to master others, have power over others, and cruelty, all that. And he tugs Lucky along on the end of a rope around Lucky's neck, and Lucky's always carrying these bags, and they come to rest, and the two tramps, Didi and Gogo, looking at them, and Gogo, who's kind of the more innocent one, keeps asking, why doesn't he put down his bags? Because even though they've come to rest, poor Lucky is just standing there holding these heavy, heavy bags, just teetering. And Gogo keeps asking, why doesn't he put down his bags? And to me, that's like addressing exactly what you're talking about. Why don't we just relieve ourselves of this burden of all this stuff and all these stories and all this blah blah blah? Why do we, even when, okay, there's nothing we have to do, nothing we have to attend to, nothing we have to, no 5 paragraph essay we have to write for English class due tomorrow morning, no nothing, and yet we keep distracting ourselves, keeping that mind busy. Why doesn't he put down his bags? And in Act Two, near the end, finally, I think Gogo asks the question. He asks Pozzo, because Lucky is mute. He asks Pozzo, "What's in the bags?" And he says, "Sand." It's just dry, worthless, dead weight. It's just sand. Why do we insist on holding it? And
Mm.
I think maybe it's just habit. We know how to do that. We know how to keep the stories going and keep the interaction, keep the blah blah going because we've had so much practice. And the more practice we get, the better, more deeply ingrained the habit becomes.
Yeah.
So we have to carve out some special time. I mean, it's really kind of ironic. We have to carve out some special time and ring a bell and get together on Zoom and give it a fancy name, call it meditation, to essentially do nothing and allow the bags to be dropped.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that was, Beckett, he kept exploring that
yeah,
borderland
yeah,
uh, all through his work.
yeah,
End game or whatever. It's always, in the end, it's just a head babbling to itself in the sand,
yeah.
telling itself the stories over and over again.
Over and over again. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But to find comedy and tragedy in that is really extraordinary.
yeah,
I love his work,
yeah, yeah.
even while it doesn't give a lot of solace.
No, no, it doesn't. And it's not clear to me that Beckett ever found that solace. It doesn't feel like he did, but he just explores right up to the edge of it. He just explores so bravely, uh, how badly life sucks, just short of that solace. That it kind of points the way if you let it. If you let it.
Yeah,
Yeah. But nothing. Of all the things I ever heard my teacher Maharishi say, probably the one that affected me the most profoundly. And he said things over and over and over again, but this I only heard him say once. He was trying to describe exactly. He was trying to answer the question we've been playing with here. He's trying to, what is that experience? And finally he said, it's just
Nothing.
nothing, but there's something very good about it.
I think the first two lines of the play are nothing to be done.
Nothing to be done.
And the other character says, I'm beginning to come around to that idea.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Nothing to be done. But people read that and they see it as something bleak. Um,
Yeah.
and again, from in as it was leaving Beckett's pen, he may have been feeling it as bleak, but man, I see it as no. Oh, there. Oh boy, nothing to be done. I'll take I'll take two of those. I'll eat one here and wrap one up to take it home. There's nothing to be done, and we're just the people to do it. But again, the paradox is you do have to sit down and do it for a while. You do. Even that's not absolutely true. Even that's not absolutely true. For most, there's plenty of stories of people who just they, they just get it one day. It just becomes obvious that just being is inherently delicious. And that the deliciousness that everyone is running around working so hard trying to get into their life is the very nature of their own existence. And I think probably there's a bunch of people who've just it's obvious to them, and it doesn't, and that they don't even realize that other people are not experiencing it. It's kind of a puzzle. God, why are all these people crying and being depressed and so forth? Don't they see? Isn't it obvious to them that being is inherently delicious? So those people, we never hear their names. They never get into the books. They don't become teachers or anything. And then for those of us who were, we weren't quite there, and we had to, so we have to like sit down, make it a program to sit down and be, and call it meditation and all that. Then, then we hold sessions and we write books and we do, so, and we call it whatever, Dharma. So Dharma is for the ignorant. you know, this is we're all on the short bus. We're all in the remedial group, which is great. Thank God there's a remedial class for us.